People love to talk about the New World Order. They throw about the term all the time, New World Order or NWO. What is it? In its simplest form, it's basically two things. It's a world without God, and it's a world without reminders of God. One person who got deeply into the concept of a new world order was an occultist named Manly P. Hall, or Manly Palmer Hall. Do you want to know what the King James Bible has to do with the New World Order? Hi, I'm David Daniels from Chick Publications. Manly P. Hall wrote books on all sorts of mystery religions. 47 years after he wrote a book on Masonry, he was made an honorary 33rd degree Mason. In addition, 33rd degree Masonic President Franklin Delano Roosevelt loved the guy and his occultic NWO teachings. This guy had some major connections. But even I was surprised at a quote a brother in Christ sent me. Take a look at this quote from right here, Manly P. Hall. Do you see all these right here? Take a look. All the dots indicate missing pieces, right? Well, I had to find out what the quote was. And so I couldn't find it online except in little snippets. Here, I took pictures of the little snippets here. All right, so I had to piece together, not a whole article, but 215 little snippets, carefully trying to find the words before and the words after, till I pieced together 6,000 words of the article, enough to answer my question. The article is called Asia in the Balance. It was printed in his own magazine, Horizon, the magazine of useful and intelligent living. In April of 1944, over a year before we dropped the bomb on Japan, 2 nuclear bombs, so World War II was still going on, okay? Manly P. Hall was already thinking about how to make a world government. Remember, these are his words. I've been careful, even though I'm picking out, to keep his statements in context, okay? Quote, "In the next 10 years, we will have to rebuild a world civilization. I hope for some psychologists, and even philosophers to be among those appointed to administer this problem. Without them, we are just going to get into more trouble." He goes on to say, "We will first perhaps try to make a great world plan. We will sit at a council table and figure how to iron out the troubles on the earth." Later he says, "World problems will not be solved except by creating a solution up through and out through the people themselves. And so, no post-war program can be successful unless at least 3 and probably 5 generations of social conditioning goes with it." He then says, "The way of that conditioning would be the one used in Central Europe to condition Nazi minds. There, the circulation of an ideology began in the public schools, began with the small child, which is where we'll have to begin, and educate not only our own people, but the peoples of the world. And we will have to have 5 generations of the consciousness concept of democratic cooperation before we can create a world capable of mental and emotional tolerance." It has to be done. Teaching it would have to start in the 1st grade of the public schools. Now, Hall talks about undoing the error-filled thinking that people cherish. Look at what he claims is error-filled thinking. Quote, To make things right, we will have to undo much that is cherished error. The problem of revising the Bible shows how difficult it is to do this. For the last 100 years, we have been trying to get out an edition of the Bible that is reasonably correct, but nobody wants it. What's wanted is the good old King James Version, every jot and tittle of it, because most people are convinced that God dictated the Bible to King James in English. Okay, never mind that he totally made up a false teaching in order to slam the King James Bible believers. Note what he said. For the last 100 years, we have been trying to get out an edition of the Bible that is reasonably correct. Who is we? He's an occultist. Who is he involved with? And what did they do to the Bible between the 1840s and the 1940s? What does an occultist who doesn't believe the Bible have to do with fixing the Bible? Aren't you the least bit suspicious? Okay, let's say he gets rid of the King James Bible. What does he put in its place? These are his words, not mine. Quote, "The solution to this whole problem, which has been given to us, is the basic science which we now call psychology, and which has been evolved in the last 50 years. Psychology is the first systematic effort to analyze human thinking, and psychology can be the basic science of human tolerance." Psychology from grade 1 and tolerance. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like today, doesn't it? But why pick on Christians? If you want a new world order, Hall is right. You need people who are conditioned for that kind of a world government to, like the Nazis conditioned the German people. For this kind of tolerance, you need people who will go with the flow, follow the ideas, flow with the tides, so to speak. But Christians are like buoys. They're big, bright markers. And a buoy is always anchored to something. Well, Bible believers, according to Manly Hall, are anchored to what? The King James Bible. Every jot and tittle of it. 1944. But Manly P. Hall wants to free you from that anchor, or else you're not going to follow his New World Order. Okay, in his Students' Monthly Letter, right here, in his Students' Monthly Letter, 4th year, letter number 12, he has this to say about what he wants to free the Bible believer from and to. From the Secret Doctrine of the Bible, Revelation of St. John, conclusion, page 8. Examine several versions of the Christian Bible, as, for example, compare the King James Version with the modern Revised Edition, that's Westcott and Hort, and a recent publication, The Bible as Living Literature, we now call it the Living Bible. Consider the polyglots and get a parallel Greek-English text. You will make many interesting discoveries. And he goes on. We will discover numerous errors and alternative renderings and slowly recover from the infallibility complex from which so many Orthodox Bible readers seem to suffer. Read the Vulgate, the Septuagint. And he goes on. You will see the uselessness of picking phrases to pieces and trying to think in terms of jots and tittles. Oh, I get it. You'll be free to consider the larger issues like, joining his New World Order. You see, it doesn't matter what they're trying to free you to. What matters is what they're trying to get you from. The King James Bible, God's holy and preserved words in English. Trust holy words of God, or free yourself to be a slave to the New World Order. Take your pick. God bless you and have a wonderful day.